It's 2025 and Aaron Boone still can't manage a bullpen. We will be discussing that and a lot more on an all-new Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, we're actually recording this episode technically day of because of the rain delay.
Yeah, what a late game. What a disappointing game. And you could actually make the case they're being sabotaged by their own manager.
Certainly seems like it. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer to listen to. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live. And we have a TikTok page. If you're there, you can follow us at Locked On Yankees. Locked On _ Yankees. So on today's show, we'll look at the standings to see where the Yankees are and where they could plausibly end up. We'll talk about Aaron Judge's possibly diminishing AL MVP chances. But first, Aaron Boone, awful at managing a bullpen.
Yeah, and this game made no sense to me for multiple reasons. Let's just skip ahead, right? Because nothing really happened up until this point anyway. Taking nothing away from Joe Ryan, he's excellent. You could see why he was one of the top trade market pieces, why he didn't get moved for anything but top-tier prospects. I understand it. He was incredible, and he's a great pitcher. Not taking anything away from him. Cam Schlittler matched him. He was that good in this game. The slider low in the zone was really working. That fastball was electric, both up and down in the zone tonight. Cam Schlittler was great. The common theme the last week, 2 weeks really, has been they're not getting length out of their starters. They're not having their starters go deep into games. And you need more than 15 outs out of your starting pitcher to be able to consistently win baseball games, which is exactly what the Yankees need to do right now.
Yeah.
We also discussed right here on this show, Stacey, and across many other platforms that discuss the New York Yankees on a daily, that they can't win series anymore. They need to sweep series. They need to win games. Each game is important. And yet, for some reason, Cam Schlittler, who is pitching unbelievably well, is taken out of the game after the fifth inning with 86 pitches because, I don't know. I've been trying to come up with a reason for the last 2 hours, and I don't have a reason for you. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. He was dominating the Twins lineup. I'm sure, he had a tough fifth inning. Let the kid get through another inning, or at least let him pitch into the sixth and see if he has anything left.
Right.
No sense at all. But I know that modern day managers are obsessed with wanting to get to the bullpen. And as soon as they see over 80 pitches, they start to itch a little bit because they need to get to the bullpen so badly. Well, if Boone was feeling that way, Stacey, after Rodon goes deep into the game and you don't use any of your high leverage arms, really except for De Los Santos the day prior, why would your first option be, with a day off tomorrow and basically a day off yesterday for the bullpen, to go with the only guy who pitched yesterday and your least high leverage pitcher? Literally anyone in the bullpen would have been a better move. Silence out of you.
Yeah.
That's like, just try for a second, and you're really good at this, but I lack faith in you here. Try to give me an explanation for why that makes legitimately any sense whatsoever to go to De Los Santos in that spot to start the sixth inning.
It doesn't. I don't understand. I will never understand the moves that this man makes when managing a bullpen. And he seems to be getting worse as he goes on, which is even more confounding when you think about it. He's been managing the Yankees since 2018. It's 2025. How do you not know how to manage a bullpen? This guy could have screwed up the 90s bullpen. He would have screwed up, or even the early 2000s, Stanton, Nelson, Rivera at this point. Like, that's how bad he is at managing a bullpen.
This is the most talented bullpen he's had since 2018 by far, with like star power and like an elite ability by far. I would have been okay with Devin Williams in that spot in the 6th inning. It was a low leverage. They were down like it was a tie game, but not crazy high leverage late in the game. That I would have even been open. I mean, you could have went Devin Williams. You could have went Luke Weaver. You could have went Bednar if you wanted to get him out of the game early. I don't think that would have been a good move, but you could have went Bednar there. You could have went Doval. You could have went Mark Leiter Jr., who's thrown 12 pitches in the last week. I mean, that's 5 names I just listed that were all better options than the guy who literally pitched the day prior. The only arm without rest in your bullpen you went with. How does that make any sense at all? So you take your starter out with 86 pitches when he's dealing, when he's matching Joe Ryan. You don't even let him get into the 6th inning to see if he can steal you a few outs. Right. When you need guys to steal you outs. You go with the only arm that is not fully healthy in your bullpen. There's a day off tomorrow, and you don't use any of the high leverage arms that you have available for you tomorrow. There's 5 arms you could have went with in the 6th inning. You didn't need to use any of them, and I just gave you 5 reasons for why that was the most idiotic decision you could have possibly made in that spot. That lost them the game, plain and simple. And I'm not taking anything away from Joe Ryan; he was excellent. That decision purely lost them this baseball game, and this is not play around time. This is to win baseball games. This is not cutesy. Let's see what De Los Santos gives us here.
Yeah, this is almost like. It's almost like him punting the lineup, except he's doing it with the bullpen in the last game.
Great point. That's
what it feels like.
Comp. This is and in a day which makes it even more frustrating, because in a day where you didn't make a punt lineup, when we both gave a point yesterday where this is exactly where they normally would give a punt lineup with a day off, they kept Stanton in the field for a 3rd straight day. They actually, played it the way that they should, other than Ben Rice should have been catching. And I think Ben Rice might have been catching if Goldschmidt weren't hurt. And Boone revealed that in the postgame, that Goldschmidt was hurt in this game. So if Goldschmidt were healthy, Ben Rice likely would have been catching in this spot. And you wouldn't have to see Austin Wells stare at a ball on the middle of the plate.
Right. That's why he didn't. Okay. Because I thought at that moment he would have pinch hit Goldschmidt for Wells. And I was shocked that he didn't. And I figured in the back of my head, something has to be wrong with Goldschmidt. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that actually made sense in this game. Other than that, I mean.
Oh, can we pull the curtain back? Yeah. Brian watches the post game. I set up the show. So I didn't know that Paul Goldschmidt was hurt because I didn't watch the post game. I was busy getting everything ready for us to.
He decided to lead the post game with saying that.
Okay.
Because he knew the first question was going to be about the idiotic bullpen decision that he made, so he tried to deflect by going with, "Oh yeah, our first baseman's hurt." So thank you for that. Appreciate it. And then he offered nothing on the De Los Santos.
But that's a problem now, because now you're going to see Wells behind the plate more and Rice at first base more.
Yeah, every day. And Rice, by the way, made a terrific play at first base in this game early on. Made a terrific backhand stab. But again, now we have to see more Austin Wells at bats. Where in this game, let's discuss this because it is still a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
He stared at a ball late in this game. I mean, right down, just on the outer edge, maybe the outer third of the plate. Regardless, it's a pitch that you don't stare at late in the game.
Yeah, you swing
especially with
that.
runner on with 2 outs. Yeah, I mean, Stacey, he looks completely and utterly lost at the plate.
He's so lost. It's a shame. And I don't mean to knock these guys when they're down, but when he came up in that late spot, I joked on Blue Sky and said, now it's time for Austin Wells to not do anything.
No faith.
And he struck out looking. Was it looking or swinging? Why am I not remembering?
It was looking. He stared at the ball.
Right. He stared at that ball. And I posted myself. I will never get used to that. I was on Twitter for how many years? And said, see, because I knew that he wasn't going to do anything in that spot. And that makes me sad because Austin Wells in 2024, he had such bad luck. And then he started hitting really well. And you thought, oh, wow, okay, this is the Austin Wells that they expected. This is the catcher of the future. And maybe this is a sophomore slump in a way.
He led off opening day. He was the leadoff hitter on opening day.
Yeah, and then they took him out of the leadoff spot.
Immediately, yeah.
Immediately.
Great experiment that lasted 24 hours. This game is beyond frustrating because, again, they tried to get cute and they tried to steal outs in a situation where they didn't need to do that. Yeah. And they went with a bullpen arm that wasn't fully healthy. It made and you can't get cute with 41 games left.
No, and
especially against a team that you need to beat.
The most annoying thing is they could have made up ground on the Red Sox because the Red Sox were beaten by the Astros, and even on the Blue Jays because the Blue Jays lost to the Cubs. But no, we will actually be talking about that in segment 3 because we're going to look at the standings.
That bullpen decision is just for that reason too, which what they could have done in the standings. It is so much. It's so compounded with frustration because they could have made up ground. For all reasons. That move just makes absolutely. It honestly borderline feels like self-sabotage. It really does.
Aaron Boone making really bad bullpen decisions that affect the Yankees
Stop
in
me if you haven't heard that one before.
Negative ways. Interesting. Never seen that before. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We send out the lineups during the season, roster moves, and breaking news so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, is Aaron Judge losing out on the AL MVP? We will be discussing that next.
You ever wish managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over all of your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. And so in addition to managing your money, you're also building a lot of your wealth. And have you ever looked at your spending and been surprised by how fast it all adds up? It really can. Monarch Money makes it simple. It's got all your stuff lined up right there so you can keep track of things day by day, hour by hour, right in front of you. And we all need a little help sometimes with managing our finances. There's enough stress going on in life. Managing your finances being made easier is so much more helpful, and Monarch gets that done for you. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Stacey, it's funny that you mentioned at the end of the last segment that Aaron Boone screwing up a bullpen and managing it poorly. Stop me if you've seen that before. This is a bad movie that has released 9 sequels at this point, and we keep going back to the theaters to re-watch the sequels over and over again, and they just get worse and worse and worse, but we can't help ourselves, so we keep going back and back and back to watch more and more and more, and it gets worse and worse and worse. I can't with the bullpen management. It's going to frustrate me for a long time, because watch if they miss the playoffs by a game. That's what it's coming down to. It's that close with Cleveland and Texas. Like, it could get that close down. Nothing you could do could convince me. And here's what bothers me more. The Yankees were so gracious, and Mother Nature, I guess, which probably makes more sense, was so gracious to give us a 2-hour break before the game started so we could all watch Taylor Swift's a new podcast appearance. And and for whatever reason, I gave the Yankees more of an opportunity to think about the bullpen decisions, and because they like to map these things out. And somehow, some way, they came to the decision, De Los Santos is the guy we're going to go with if it's a tie game in the 6th inning.
I didn't watch
I can't. It's crazy.
I didn't watch that podcast.
You're the only person to not watch it. You're one of the only people.
She's fine. I don't understand the hype. She's fine. She makes perfectly cromulent music. I don't understand how people fly to Europe to watch her play. It's a word from The Simpsons.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to see Taylor Swift at some time in the future, you're going to need a lot of money. And the way to improve on a lot of your money is to bet on MVP odds, which people like to do preseason. And normally you can get Aaron Judge at plus money in that situation. He was minus 8,000 to win the AL MVP early on this year. Stacey, if I can explain that to you for a second, although I know you're pretty aware at this point, minus 8,000 is not a bet you would want to make, because it means that you would need to bet $8,000 to win $100. It's not worth it.
What?
Yeah, that's how much of a favorite he was to win the MVP early on. Those numbers have now dropped to minus 145. It's a drastic and insane drop. A lot of it has to do with the injury, plus the average. He's not quite hitting 400 anymore, and his power numbers have dipped drastically in the last month or so. He really hasn't hit a lot of home runs in August at all. Now, I know he had the injury and stuff, but he still is favored to win the MVP. And if it were up to me, I still think he will win the MVP. But we'll go over the numbers in a second. I just want to ask you point blank here. There a chance he's still hurt?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's not 100%. It might not be as hurt as he was when it first happened, but I don't think he's 100%.
I'd agree with you. You did see him wince after the home run last night. In game 2 of the series. In the dugout, he was kind of wincing and turning a little bit. It does feel like they put a little too much urgency on getting him back as quick as possible, because, and I don't know if it's too much urgency. They clearly handled it with urgency. But again, from everything that we've spoken about of why they're doing what they're doing, they had no option but to treat it with urgency, because they put themselves in this situation. If they weren't back in the division and back in the wild card, they would have been able to let Aaron Judge take a nice month off. Right. They didn't afford themselves that opportunity, so he needed to come back early. These are all snowball effects. You play poorly, and all of this stuff starts to snowball. Therefore, Judge needs to be back early. If let me read these numbers to you, and then I'm going to ask you if you think that he should still be the MVP or if you think he's lost ground. So Aaron Judge's projections right now are for 51 homers and 119 RBIs. It's obviously a crazy year, even with missing 10 games. That's still pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
Al Raleigh, though, who's the second place guy and really the only other guy in the American League with a chance to catch him, is projected for 61 homers and 132 RBIs. The average is still like 242. So it's a lot lower, 245, I think, after Wednesday night. Judge is hitting 334 currently. Raleigh, again, like I said, 245. So it's a significant drop. It's about 90
That's
points
almost
lower.
90 points. That's crazy. Yeah.
If Cal gets to 62, does he win the MVP on that basis of a historical number?
Yeah, because the writers will go for the home run number. They won't care about batting average, because Judge has already won how many MVPs in the last few years. So I think that I think Raleigh would get it. Yeah,
I'd actually if he doesn't get to 62, I think, and if Judge stays moderately consistent, I do think he's going to win it. The thing is, I don't see Judge getting to 51 home runs at this point.
No, not at this point.
The power is not there. And like, we could wind up eating these words in 2 weeks, because he can go on one of those unbelievable stretches where we just swallow our tongues, because he's done that before. Right. Where he, in a 2-week stretch, he gets 11 home runs and we're like, what's going on here? Yeah, right. That could happen. It doesn't feel like it, though. And it does feel like he's I don't want to say not competitive, but he's not all there at all of his at-bats recently. They're not as good as they normally are. I just think, they potentially brought him back a little too quickly, where they didn't need to. And now they're in this situation where he's not 100%. They're not necessarily ready to put him in the field because they don't want him to get more hurt. Also, Stanton is holding his own in the field.
I was really worried. I was really worried on Wednesday, just because the wet ground, it rained for a while. It was heavy rain. And I thought to myself, do we really need Stanton running around on wet grass?
And didn't the foul ball in the 8th inning kind of make you sit up in your seat a little bit? Yeah. When he gets close to the wall and he stops himself, and then I was like, don't do that. Just let it go foul. We don't need you to catch that ball.
Like, please don't hurt yourself. That's the last thing they need.
Yeah. He's, by the way, playing like an MVP candidate. He's hitting 300. Stan might hit 20 home runs this year and miss half the year.
Considering that, it's pretty much half the year that he missed, and it's unbelievable. Like, how do you have tennis elbow in both elbows and come back and do what he's doing?
This is a deeper dive for the off season, but he deserves so much credit for the player that he is.
He really does.
And the stuff that he's put up with in the Bronx that he doesn't deserve.
You know what I did last night? After I edited the show, I was waiting for the video to export, because it takes like 20 minutes to export from my awful editing program. I watched Stanton highlights from the playoffs in 2024. It's
so much fun. It's nostalgic, but it's so much fun.
I was just like, oh God, he deserves so much better than what the rest of his team gave him in the playoffs. Like, watching those home runs against Cleveland. And I just was so sitting there like, he's amazing. He's amazing.
After you finish watching Locked On Yankees, there's a really good compilation video you guys should all find.
Oh, of all of his
Stanton,
postseasons home
of
runs?
his all-time postseason home runs, and
Yeah.
it's mesmerizing because
Mhm.
some of those balls that he just gets all of, it's so satisfying to watch when he just steps into one and hits it about 640 miles per hour off the bat.
There was
It's so
one
much
home
fun.
run against Cleveland in 2020 that he hit
That went
so
3/4 of the
far.
way up the wall. Yeah.
And in the
It's
empty stadium, I was like, wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that was.
You know, it's crazy when 5 years later you're still like, geez, I remember that one. And
Mhm.
it's nuts.
Yeah.
I think Judge is gonna win the MVP. I still think he has it, but
Like, you think it's his to lose still?
the phrasing is interesting there.
Mm.
Because I don't think it's his to lose.
Mm.
But I do think I think he rightly should be favored still.
Mm.
But if Raleigh gets that historic number, and with the lack of caring in the sport right now over batting average, I think
no one
like
cares.
years ago, if he was hitting 245, he wouldn't have a prayer of hitting the MVP.
Right. Yeah.
But now no one cares about batting average. It's crazy too because Judges on base.
The Yankees don't even care about batting average. They don't even put that up anymore. They put OPS up on the scoreboard, apparently.
And Judges on base is like 450 this year, and Raleigh's is like 338.
Yeah.
It's crazy how good Judge has been, and Raleigh is pretty much home run or bust at this point.
Yeah.
It's still an impressive year. We'll see if he gets the 62. If he gets there, I think they're going to give it to him. If he doesn't, Judge's numbers are still so good. I hope he doesn't. I don't know why. I just want that to stay a Yankees statistic.
I know. Like, especially only 2 years removed.
Yeah.
Or 3 years removed. Sorry, 3 years. That's right. We're in 2025.
It feels like steroid era territory where guys are just shattering records and you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah. We're not accusing Big Dumper of doing anything.
No.
Also,
not the Big Dumper.
Still the worst nickname ever. Anyway, coming up, we're going to look at the standings, see where the Yankees are currently, and muse about where they could possibly end up. And we'll tell you about some news from around the league because some interesting things happened on Wednesday. So we're going to talk about all of that next.
Hey guys, not only do we cover your team every day, but now we're giving you instant episodes after every single game. Check out the Locked On Yankees postcast. It's hosted by Jay Berman. It appears right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. It's also streaming on our YouTube channel. Get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. Also, Stacey, Fan Mail Friday tomorrow, and then you'll all get a bonus episode the next day. We're going to have Emmanuel Barbari on with us just to really discuss the vibe in the clubhouse, what's going on with the team. It should be a very interesting because Emmanuel's pretty honest with us. And if you guys saw the interview we had with him in January, he's pretty honest with the team and how the team's doing. And his first year really covering them full time should be a really cool perspective to get how the vibe is in that clubhouse. I'm still mad about how the game ended. Like the decision to me, it's not worse than the Nestor Cortez decision just because it's the gravity of the Cortez decision that makes it the worst thing ever. It's the fact that it happened in the World Series, which is what makes it terrible. But
and the fact that it pitched in a month.
This decision, though, it makes so little sense. I can't even. I've been trying to think of for the last hour or two, like give me a good reason for why they would have went. I can't even come up with an analytical decision of why it makes sense there. Nothing about that makes sense in that spot. All of your high leverage guys are healthy. They haven't been used in over a day, and they all have tomorrow off. Why would you go to any of them and not keep Schlittler in who's dealing, but to go to your least best option in that spot? It's so agonizing and pathetic. And what makes it even more angry is the fact that they had a chance to gain ground on the Red Sox and the Blue Jays because they both lost prior.
Yep.
And instead, in Yankee fashion, they decided not to do that.
Actually, interestingly enough, the Rays are still playing as we're recording this, but the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, the Yankees all lost. The Rays lost on Tuesday. So when you look at the standings where it says streak, it's all L1 until you get to the Orioles, who walked off. We're going to actually talk about that in a bit because it's been a while since the Orioles have walked off. But it's frustrating because you have to take advantage of the other teams who aren't necessarily going to help you in the standings when you're not playing them head to head. And they The Astros helped you, the Cubs helped you, and you didn't help yourselves.
And the Marlins helped you because the Guardians lost to the Marlins 13-4, so you had a chance to get another game on the Guardians, who are directly chasing you.
Nice. Nice job, Marlins.
and the Diamondbacks helped you because the Rangers, who are chasing the Guardians behind them, lost also. So every team the Yankees needed to get a win over, they had a chance to actually create some really good ground in this game because every team they were either being chased by or chasing. Lost. It's insane how terrible of a decision that is. I mean,
so the Red Sox lost 2 out of 3 to the Astros. Blue Jays lost Wednesday to the Cubs, but they started their series on Tuesday because they had an off day on Monday. So the series is split going into Thursday's finale 1-1. So the Cubs could help the Yankees again on their off day, maybe. So
speaking of that series, how cool is this? So the Cubs are calling up their top 10 prospect in all of baseball, Owen Casey, right? Now the decision is a little weird because why would you call him up 3 weeks prior to September call-ups? When you could buy the service time. I'm not really a fan of cheating these guys out of the system, but if you're this close, why would you do it now? Don't get that. Owen Casey is born and raised in Toronto, and they're calling him up when they play the Blue Jays for the last time in the series in Toronto. So that's a pretty cool move. Now I do want to say he was the big prospect right around very, very young, like single A, like right out of the draft in the Yu Darvish trade that sent Yu Darvish from San Diego to the Cubs, or from the Cubs to San Diego. Yeah. So pretty cool to see that come to fruition and see him get called up now. He'll be playing obviously in that Thursday game and making his debut in his hometown. That's a pretty cool one. I just felt like I'd mentioned that there. But yeah, with all the teams the Yankees are chasing and being chased by losing, makes the loss so much worse.
So let's bring this up because Pete Alonso passed Darryl Strawberry for most home runs in Mets history, which is cool because, that's pretty exciting. Strawberry was great for the Mets, and that's a cool milestone. But Mad Dog, Chris Russo, didn't like how much the Mets and the announcers were celebrating this feat because he didn't think it was that big a deal, which I thought was really funny. So, of course, people were mad at Mad Dog for
I mean, I don't get how Mad Dog can't see how this is a big deal. Like, of course it's a big deal.
Like, the Mets have been around for more than 60 years now. Like, they're an established franchise. That's a big deal to be the person who has hit the most home runs in their history. Yeah.
And I'll say this. The number is alarmingly low for the leader in home runs. It's like in the 250s. That it's alarmingly low how that's the leader in home. David Wright would have passed it more than likely if he stayed healthy. Yeah. But I mean, to not comprehend why to lead the franchise in any statistical category is impressive. So I don't know why you wouldn't find that he's officially in Met lore forever until someone comes along and breaks that.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big deal.
The way this record has gone so far, it might be how many years before someone even goes near that record. Especially
with the way last year ended and all the contract negotiations and everything. I don't know how you couldn't think this is a big deal. I think it's a really big deal. Congrats to Pete Alonso. That's pretty cool.
The other thing about the Mets, I have to mention this. On Wednesday night, they played the Braves. They were up 6-0 heading into the top of the 4th inning, and the Braves scored 9 runs in the top of the 4th. They ended up scoring 2 more to make it 11-6, and that's how the game ended up. When the inning finally ended after 12 batters went to the plate, Citi Field was vociferously booing the Mets. I think I heard it at my house. It was brutal.
It is funny. If you're one of those fans that like just pays attention to the Yankees and doesn't pay attention to anything else going on in baseball, if you think the Yankees have played bad in the last month, dear God, go look at the Mets. They are on a free fall, Stacey. I mean, they started the month with a 2-game lead on the Phillies. They're now 8 games back. They've completely plummeted. They've lost like 13 of 14 now, I think. They are playing so horrendous. And Francisco Lindor has been awful for them. Juan Soto hasn't had a big hit all year. It's the complete opposite of what he did for the Yankees last year. Also, all of his home runs are solo shots. He has like no RBIs this year. Very, very tough scene going on in Queens right there. Also, this is cool too. Everybody said the Twins were selling at the deadline. because they wanted to get salary off the books because the team is for sale and new owners are not going to want to buy a team with large contracts on the books. That's probably what they said the motivation was behind the Correa trade. The Twins announced today or yesterday that they are no longer for sale. It's just a franchise that has no idea what direction it's going in.
Yikes. Oh, speaking of franchises who are not going in the right direction, it took 119 games for the Orioles to have a walk-off in 2025. I know they didn't play all their games at home, but it took until the 119th game for them to walk off. They walked off against Seattle. Also in that game, there was a Little League home run by the Orioles. There was also a Little League home run in the Reds-Phillies game. The Reds beat the Phillies 2 out of 3 in their series. Shohei Ohtani kept striking out Mike Trout on Wednesday night, and I believe it was the second strikeout that he had against him. The last pitch that he threw was 101 miles an hour. He also had a triple in the game, and he is really annoying.
He's good. He's so good.
That's why he's annoying.
And they are not that good.
They're not having a good time. The Padres moved into first place.
Yeah, their bullpen cannot get an out. All their starters are hurt. They are, and Mookie Betts is having a horrendous season. They are not playing well at all this year.
And one more fun fact from the Dodgers-Angels game, the Freeway Series that's happening. CB Buckner was behind the plate on Wednesday's game. He missed 7 calls in the first inning alone.
Get me to robot umpires. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah. So as Brian mentioned at the top of the segment, or close to the top of the segment, it's Fan Mail Friday. As you're watching this, the deadline is 5 p.m. Thursday. So get those questions in. YouTube viewers, go to our channel's page, click on the post tab. You will see it. There are 4 questions already, or at least there were earlier today. So there's probably more. There will be more on Thursday when I've checked them. So get those questions in, ask us anything, and try not to ask us anything about Aaron Boone because we're Aaron Booned out.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty of those questions there.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to avoid.
Yeah. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this episode of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.